My husband, a mama's boy, always criticizes my cooking. Together, we were invited to his family's home. After my mother-in-law crowded the table with dishes, she announced, "I've prepared plenty of my specialty dishes, so please eat a lot." "Yes, thank you, Mom. They all look really delicious." As we sat down and toasted, my husband began eating with great enthusiasm. So good. This is delicious. And this one is exquisite too." In high spirits, he kept eating more and more. Then he looked at me and said, "Seriously, Mom's cooking is amazing, right? You should learn from her more." "Huh? Even this fried sesame chicken is crispier than what you make, and the chicken stew has a deeper flavor. And the potato salad, that satisfying texture, 100 times better than yours." "Yeah." "Mom, despite being a career woman, is so good at cooking. You'll never be able to satisfy me if you can't keep up. Make sure to learn from Mom properly." My husband said so with a confident look. Then my mother-in-law quietly told me, "I'm glad you're satisfied, but that..." Afterward, my husband ended up miserably sobbing. My name is Holly Miller, and I'm a 30-year-old working wife. After graduating from university, I landed a job at a major cosmetic company, fulfilling my long-time dream. I worked in marketing and led a busy life within the company. Focused solely on work, I reached my late 20s without having a boyfriend. Concerned about this, one day a friend offered to introduce me to someone. "Nice to meet you. I'm Julian." "Wow, you're beautiful. I'm feeling nervous." At that moment, I met Julian, who would later become my husband. He was a white-collar employee at a major corporation. My initial impression of him was that he was someone masculine who could take charge. Apparently, Julian played football in college, so he had a sturdy physique. Even during our courtship, he took the lead and made things enjoyable. I gradually found myself drawn to him. After 2 years of dating, Julian proposed to me. "Holly, there's no one else for me but you. Please marry me." "Thank you, Julian. I gladly accept." And so we became engaged. I then took Julian to say hello to my parents, and they happily agreed to the marriage. After some time, we finally went to visit Julian's family. Julian's father had passed away a few years earlier due to illness. As Julian didn't have any siblings, his mother lived alone in the family home. "Welcome, I've been waiting." My welcoming mother-in-law had a short haircut and an approachable demeanor. "Mom, this is Holly. I want to marry her." When Julian introduced me, his mother nodded deeply. "I respect what you guys have decided. Holly, he's a modest son, but please take care of him." I nodded too, and then we chatted for a while. His mother spoke to me. "Holly, you work for S Cosmetics, right?" "Yes, that's correct. I work in the marketing department, and I'm busy every day, mainly dealing with advertisements." "Actually, our magazine also handles advertisements for S Cosmetics. If marketing is your job, we might work together someday." "Huh? Your magazine?" When I asked, Julian proudly chimed in. "Mom is the editor-in-chief of a famous cooking magazine." When I heard the name of the magazine, I was surprised, as it was a popular cooking magazine I had read before. I thought she was stylish and exuded an unusual aura, but I never imagined my mother-in-law was such a successful career woman. "It's nothing special, but I've worked hard since I was young." "That's amazing. I admire you." As I expressed my admiration sincerely, my mother-in-law felt embarrassed. Then Julian intervened again. "Mom juggled a busy job while also handling household chores and raising children. Pretty amazing, right?" Yes, truly. I want to be like your mom. When I told her this, my mother-in-law gave me a serious look. Will you continue working after marriage, Holly? Yes, I love my current job and find it fulfilling. That's wonderful. It's an era where women shine in their careers. Julian, since you'll both be working, you and Holly have to help each other in life, okay? Julian nodded, saying, Of course. And I exchanged contact information with my mother-in-law. I was happy that my mother-in-law was a respectful woman. And on the way home, I said this to Julian. Your mom is amazing. I admire her. Right, Holly, strive to be like her. After such a conversation, we headed home. Afterward, Julian and I registered our marriage. We had a wedding ceremony and decided to rent an apartment together. Before moving in together, we had discussed the division of household chores. I was in charge of cooking, Julian of laundry. Cleaning was alternated during weekdays and done together thoroughly on weekends. We were both satisfied with these agreements. At first, Julian enthusiastically did the household chores. However, after 2 months of living together, he began to slack off on them. Hey Julian, you haven't finished today's laundry yet. I did everything up to starting the washing machine. Can't you finish the rest, Holly? I'm really sleepy. Ugh. Thus, I ended up doing Julian's tasks too. But there was another problem. Julian often complained about my cooking. One day, I'm home. What's for dinner tonight? I made fried sesame chicken today. Please wash your hands and come to the table. After washing his hands and sitting down, Julian immediately frowned. Julian, what's wrong? Something is off. The smell... Huh? Your fried sesame chicken doesn't smell the same as Mom's at all. Did you make it properly? I made it properly without cutting corners. Then Julian picked up the fried sesame chicken with his fork and put it in his mouth. Yeah, it's definitely different. Huh. The crispy texture of the batter isn't right. And isn't the sauce too bland? Is that so? Well, I can still eat it. Hey, Holly, why didn't you learn cooking from Mom? While eating in front of him, his words hurt me. After 6 months of marriage, Julian started slacking off on household chores even more. Even on weekends, when I was doing laundry and cleaning, he wouldn't get up. Julian, we promised to clean together on weekends. Saying this to Julian, he groaned sleepily. Come on, Holly, just do everything. Huh? Even though Mom was busy, she managed to do all the housework and childcare perfectly, you know? If you want to be like my mom, you'd better start working hard now, Holly. You're still far from being like Mom. I almost shouted, This mama's boy! But I held back with great effort. Julian brings up his superwoman-like mother-in-law in various situations. When he mentions my mother-in-law, I can't help but feel like I fall short of her. I suppress my thoughts and just focus on the chores at hand. Then one day, a decisive incident occurred. On this particular day, I was making a meal that Julian wanted to eat. Stewed chicken today. Let's see what you've got. Those words irked me from the beginning, but for now I watched as Julian took a bite of the stewed chicken. His face contorted in disgust. Ugh, awful. Huh? This stewed chicken was meticulously prepared while following a recipe from a cooking magazine. I had tasted it several times, and it was delicious. This is nothing like Mom's stewed chicken. Honestly, you never learn. There he goes again, mentioning Mom. Frustrated, I couldn't help but respond. All right. Sorry for not being your mom. Then, to my surprise, Julian glared at me and tossed the stewed chicken into the trash. Hey, you can't just throw that away. What are you doing? I protested, and Julian's temper flared. It's inedible, so I tossed it. Yet, you had the nerve to act rebellious? Hopefully, this teaches you a lesson, so you can cook as well as Mom. I had reached my limit. Throwing away a dish I had worked so hard on. It's just despicable. And to constantly compare me to his mother and put me down. I can't take it anymore. Alone at the dining table after Julian left, I found myself crying. And then, a few days later, I visited my mother-in-law's house alone. Holly, what's wrong all of a sudden? Where's Julian today? She asked with a concerned expression, and I broached the subject with my mother-in-law. Please teach me how to cook. Huh? Your cooking the other day was delicious, Holly. I don't need to teach you anything. Confused, I explained Julian's recent behavior to my mother-in-law. When I told her about him throwing away the stewed chicken, my mother-in-law's expression changed suddenly. What the heck? Did that kid really do that? Yeah, unfortunately. So, Mom, I want you to teach me how to cook. And also, I informed my mother-in-law of something I learned the previous day. She grinned and said this. I understand, Holly. We'll have to straighten him out. Huh? You don't need to learn from me. Listen carefully. Thus, my mother-in-law shared a plan with me. I happily agreed to it. 2 weeks later. Hey, Julian, isn't it your birthday next week? Oh yeah, that's right. I'll be turning 33. I told a happy Julian the following. So, Julian, how about having your birthday party at Mom's house? Huh? Your mom said she'd cook too. What do you think? Sounds good. I want to taste Mom's cooking again. She is thoughtful, huh? While Julian was on cloud 9, I sent a message to invite my mother-in-law with a wry smile. The response came back. Understood. Let's surprise him. On Julian's birthday, we bought a cake and headed to my mother-in-law's house. Welcome. I've been waiting. Happy birthday, Julian. Thanks, Mom. Thanks for giving birth to me. As we entered the living room, the table was packed with dishes. Julian's favorites, fried sesame chicken, chicken stew, potato salad. I prepared plenty of my specialty dishes, so eat to your heart's content. Yes, thanks, Mom. They all look really delicious. As we sat down and made a toast, Julian started eating voraciously. Delicious. This is great. And this one's fantastic too. In high spirit, he continued to eat. Then he looked at me and said this. Seriously, Mom's cooking is amazing, isn't it? You should learn more from her. Oh? This fried sesame chicken is crispier than yours, and the chicken stew has a deeper flavor. Even the potato salad, the texture? It's 100 times better than what you made. I see. Mom is a career woman, yet she's so good at cooking. You'll never be able to satisfy me if you can't keep up. Make sure you learn from Mom properly. Julian said proudly. Then my mother-in-law quietly said this. I'm glad you're satisfied. Actually, Holly made all of these. Huh? By the way, the potato salad is from the supermarket. What? What are you talking about, Mom? This was made by Holly? And this is from the supermarket? Yes, she came over here last night. Holly made everything and kept them in the fridge. I just reheated them. All I did was buy the potato salad. The ones from the nearby supermarket are delicious, Come to think of it, Holly came home late yesterday. But Mom, you said I've prepared plenty of my specialty dishes. I meant to say my proud daughter-in-law's dishes.
Huh?
Silence fell over the dining table, and it was broken by my mother-in-law. Julian, I heard everything from Holly, you know. It seems you've been belittling her cooking and bringing me into it, huh?
Mom.
I like cooking too, you know, but because I'm busy, I often rely on supermarket food and ready-made meals. Like this potato salad. You seemed to think I made everything, but that's a big misunderstanding.
Is that so?
With a serious expression, my mother-in-law continued. You were always taught to be grateful for the food served to you, right?
Yes.
Holly's food must have been very good, as you said yourself. So why did you criticize Holly's cooking or even throw it away? Then Julian began speaking reluctantly.
A senior colleague of mine said, the beginning of a marriage is the most important. If you throw away her cooking, your wife will become more docile and you'll have a better home life.
I was utterly disgusted by those words. It seemed my mother-in-law felt the same way, as she sighed heavily, restraining her anger.
It's truly helpless.
To think you would hurt Holly, who is the most important? Holly, what do you think? When my mother-in-law asked me, I answered clearly. His words deeply hurt me every time. Maybe it's difficult for us to stay married. I'm considering divorce. As I took out the divorce papers from my bag, Julian turned pale.
What? Divorce? I don't want that.
But what you did qualifies as grounds for divorce, you know. When my mother-in-law said this sharply, Julian slumped, his large frame shrinking.
I'm sorry, Holly. I feel like I've woken up. I truly think I was acting insane. Idolizing Mom and throwing away your delicious cooking. I was such an idiot.
And Julian began to cry, feeling pathetic.
Please, give me another chance. I'll do anything.
So, are you going to stop dumping all the household chores on me?
I'll do them, of course I will. It sounds ridiculous, but it took being faced with divorce to realize how important you are to me, Holly. I'm sorry for hurting you. Please spare me from divorce.
Seeing Julian, a grown man, crying and repenting, I glanced at my mother-in-law and then turned to him. Finally, you get it, huh? Can I trust you?
Holly, will you forgive me?
Yes. Both your mother and I heard your words loud and clear. If you can't keep them, you're in trouble next time.
Thank you, Holly, really, thank you.
As Julian relaxed with a relieved expression, I said to him, Also, you need to learn how to cook.
Huh? Me? Cooking?
Even I might get sick and be unable to cook or end up in a hospital.
Huh? Holly, are you okay? Are you sick?
Turning pale, Julian shook my shoulders, and I smiled at him. From now on, do your best for the family, Daddy.
Huh?
Yes, the day before I went to consult my mother-in-law, I knew something. It was the fact that I was pregnant.
Huh? Really? Holly, you're pregnant? I'm going to be a dad. Yes.
Julian started shedding tears of joy this time. My mother-in-law and I smiled and watched over him. After that, Julian seemed to change and started doing household chores willingly. He seemed to realize the difficulty of cooking after learning from my mother-in-law and me, and apparently felt ashamed of his previous attitude. He sincerely apologized, so I forgave him with a smile.
Holly, are you feeling okay? Today, I prepared some great dishes for the pregnant lady. Give them a try.
To think I could hear such words from Julian. I once again felt grateful to my mother-in-law who made this possible. Time passed and I gave birth. The baby girl born was adorable, and Julian was already doting on her. My mother-in-law was genuinely delighted by the birth of her grandchild and always looked out for me. I now adore her like my own mother. I want to continue supporting and helping my beloved family, creating a home filled with smiles.